Well, Shamima Begg is notorious as the ISIS bride, banned from returning to Britain. Begg was just 15 when she and two other East London schoolgirls travelled to Syria to join the terrorists in 2015. Her attempts to come home have sparked a global furore. To some, she's a victim, a child exploited by terrorists. To others, she's a terrorist herself and a threat to national security. The UK stripped her of citizenship in 2019, arguing her Bangladeshi heritage means she's not stateless. In practice, neither country will let her in. And Begum, now aged 23, is stuck in a Syrian detention camp where most British people think she should stay. But this week, another twist. She may be smuggled into Syria by Canadian spy. With Canada now pledging to investigate, is it time to give Begum another hearing? Here's my problem with this whole case with Shamima Begg. I've followed it for a number of years. I just can't get past the fact that she spent years there mothering a number of kids by a jihadi father who was fighting with ISIS. She knew what they were doing. She saw what they were doing, and she just stayed and was, in my view, a willing accomplice to this whole ISIS phenomenon over there. Why should we show her any mercy? Why should we have any pity for someone who was so merciless and pitiless herself?
Piers, I don't think it's a question of mercy at all. I think really it's a question of the law and a question of the application of it across the board. So, for example, there are several people who were part of ISIS who've returned to the UK. Some are in prison, some are out, some are on terrorism prevention and investigative measures, i.e. akin to house arrest. So there's different ways that Britain knows how to and can and has dealt with this. The real issue is Shamima being targeted because her nationality was revoked? Was it a political statement, or was it one that was based on law? And I think it's the former and not the latter. The role of the intelligence services in all of this also cannot be underplayed. And if you'll allow me, I think you may remember, you came to Belmarsh in 2014 to visit Andy Coulson. I was in Belmarsh at the time, and I was being prosecuted for sending a generator to Syria. Now, my case fell apart. The police declared me innocent, and I was found not guilty. But I was held with an individual who told me a fascinating story. He was a young man from London who said that he'd been recruited by MI5 to go and spy for them against ISIS. And they'd given him huge amounts of money to do so. MI5 and the police eventually thought that he's playing a double game, he's a double agent. So they arrested him and tried to prosecute him for terrorism. And his case was the first case in British legal history to have been almost entirely heard in secret because of the role of MI5 in his case. It was completely bizarre.
Okay, but look, I want to focus more on Shamima Begg.
The main charges.
Well, what is the relevance to Shamima Begg?
Because
it seems to be in her case.
So the relevance.
We all know what she did. We all know what she saw. We know, in my view, she made her ISIS bride bed, and she should lie in it.
So the relevance to this case, Piers, is that he was then taken, put under deportation order in the UK, and his nationality was revoked in the UK, and then he was deported, so that the details of his case would never come to light.
Right.
So in the same way in Shamima Begum's case, the role of the intelligence service, it's impossible that the security services, that the police didn't know that an agent for CSIS, the Canadian Intelligence Services, was facilitating the travel of her and other British individuals.
Well, if that is what's happened, I mean, there are so many unanswered questions here. What is not unanswered, Andrew Drury, is